Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fanfiction it inspires. Before we begin, just want to remind you to follow us wherever you listen so you don't miss any episodes or bonus content. If you love what we do and want an easy way to show your support, please consider leaving us a positive, all the stars rating on your favourite listening platform. It helps SPN and fanfic lovers find us and share in the fun. I'm Kasey.
I'm Sandra, and it's another Tags and Tropes episode.
Woo!
Woo! It's where we tackle a fanfic category, genre, or subject matter. We're going to break down some stats, share our overall thoughts, and discuss a couple of fics, maybe more than a couple, that are prime examples of the topic, I think. At the end of all that, we'll let you know whether it's a gib or a hard pass for us. Kasey, how long's it been since we recorded?
Over a month.
Over a month. So
Over a month.
We're easing back into it after about an hour or so of just chatting when we were supposed to be recording. So yeah, this is a little bit of like, maybe training wheels, and then they're just going to fly off at some point, and we're just going to be like, yes, this is how we do the thing.
Yes. Just bear with us, basically.
It's been a while, right, since we've done even a Tags and Tropes. I can't remember even what. The last one was Metafic. I think that we did. I think that's the last one that we recorded and posted.
Yeah.
Casey's like, yes, they're just going to go along with it with me.
No, I'm pretty sure that was the last one that we did. I don't remember. I don't know.
So this one that we're doing is called Transformation. This topic popped actually back into my brain after reading some messages in our Idling in the Impala Discord server, and from our member Mellow Fellow, who we are going to have on probably to discuss even more aspects of transformation. But what I thought we'd do first is ease into it how we usually do, talking about what it is, if you haven't heard of it before, how it breaks down on AO3. So we're kind of going broader. When you think transformation, Kasey, is there something that pops into your mind first?
Dogs.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, see, now I've thought about it a little bit more. The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. I don't know that that's necessarily where we're at.
No, but it's a transformation. Yeah.
That's a bit more body horror. But yeah, like, I don't know. Just like dogs and stuff is what pops into my mind personally. What about you? Where do you come in?
So I think for me, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, I think I get more towards like the witchy side of things with like maybe familiars and that kind of stuff. I feel like that's kind of where I lean in a little bit more, but it didn't happen right away. Like I found that like through AO3, I think, and stuff more as I started really digging into the fan fiction, supernatural fan fiction primarily too. Like once I started to see that aspect of it, it kind of like, oh, this is so that's what I think of when I think of transformation. But I know a lot of people think about a lot of different things when it comes to transformation, and it can fall under a lot of different tags. But what I wanted to kind of focus on were two primary ones, which is animal transformation and anthropomorphic. So again, we want to preface this like we always do. We try to follow your kink is not my kink and that's okay motto, but we may interject our personal squicks about any given tag or trope, but it's in no way meant to yuck anybody's yum. I'm going to include this article, our document, in the description, but we got a lot of this information from the fanlore page. And again, like I said, I broke it down into two. The first one is the animal transformation, which is a fanfic trope in which one or more characters are transformed into an animal, or else an alternate universe story wherein the characters are cast as animals. Now, we've had people on that have written fic that have cast characters as animals. I'm immediately thinking of Ashtray Thief.
Yeah, dinos.
Okay, so that's like a thing. You've read that one by Ashtray?
I've read all of them.
Okay.
There is more than one. I've read all of them.
So, like everything dino, or just like particularly Ashtray Thief stuff too?
No, just Ash's.
Okay.
Ash's dino things. So here's the thing. I'll be upfront about this. I don't get this in terms of written work. like give me fan art of like Sam and Dean as cats, and I'm all over that shit. Like like me on a cupcake for real. I'm all over it. I love it. They're just smushy, and Sam's really floofy, and Dean's really sleek, and they're just I fucking think it was posted in our Discord server this week. She'd got her Hischester pins from Stan's. And so she had there's Moose Hischester and Tobean Hischester, Sam and Dean, and Sam's little cat's a really foofy cat, but it's got 3 white paws and 1 brown paw. And myself and Sal, Sam and Dean, the 76, were kind of like, she was like, oh, I really love the attention to detail to this because there's like a bowl of demon blood and it's real cute. Sal had mentioned the odd colored feet, and I was like, oh, what is the significance of that? And she had said, oh, you know, just like something like cats have like odd socks and stuff like that. And like I have a tuxedo who has socks, and his socks are all odd. And then Dreamer came in with the I lost my shoe gif. And then we were all like, oh my God, he lost his shoe. Fuck. He lost his shoe. That was so fucking cute.
Oh my gosh.
Like this big foofy brat. I'm not done talking about the pins.
No, okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm just like, I really
What's the disconnect then, do you think?
It's because it's an image. It's like, I just don't like, okay, like here's the thing. When you talk about animal transformation, I do immediately go to dogs.
Okay.
Like of the fics that I've read, primarily it's dogs.
Okay.
And I'm not that much of a dog person, really.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I'll play with it. And like, I'm happy. And, you know, I'll spend a happy afternoon frolicking about with somebody else's dog. But then I want to go home to my cats who are needy, but it's not the same, you know? And so I don't, it's kind of like kid fics for me. When like every once in a while I can read them, but like, I prefer them to be like crack. I prefer them to be like the everyday humor of raising small people, you know.
Gotcha.
Like kids are really fucking funny. And if you like, oh, you remember when Dandelion Dreams wrote that Daddy Dean one, and he picked up one of the twins and she threw up, like the child, I can't remember if it was the boy or the girl, threw up all over him. And she was like, this is an actual story from Jensen of picking one of his twins up and they threw up all over him. That's fucking funny. I will read that all day long because raising children is fucking tiring, right? So I will read those kind of humorous moments.
So not angsty. You don't like the angst? Like, do you feel that some stuff maybe is a little angstier with the transformation stuff?
It's not so much that. It's just like, I don't want to read something I already live, you know? So like specifically talking about kid fics, like the act of raising a child is tiring and it's draining, and oh yes, it's lovely and fulfilling. Like, I'm a good parent, I swear, don't call anybody. But it's, you know, like I live that shit. I don't want to read it. And I think it's the same with like transformation, like animal transformation stuff. Like I own animals. I'm aware of dogs. Like if you give me a fic where something is transformed into a mythical being, like the dragon fics, I'll read them.
Okay.
But like that kind of like bog standard, I just don't want to read what I already live, you know?
Gotcha.
But animal, like pictures, please. Also, I'm really partial to the fan art where Sam or Dean is very tiny and the other one is like full size. I really like those. Dee shared a picture with me, as it's a few weeks ago now, and it was like sleeping Dean, and there was about 5 or 6 little mini Sams.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Like, one of them was pulling over a newspaper to point out a case, and like one of them was pulling over his flannel, and like a couple of them were like nudging him, like, we found a case. It was the cutest fucking thing. If I can get Dee to find it for me again, I'll put a link in the description. It was so fucking cute. They were all really, really little chibi.
I do.
Tiny little Sams.
I wonder if that's, I mean, I would think that might fall under, I don't know, a different type of transformation, like size transformation or something like that.
Yeah, I think that would probably follow the transformation, but we're talking specifically about animal and anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
So,
but I do love that too. I think I get a kick out of that. I think those are always cute. I've always had like I loved the Littles cartoon. Did you ever watch the Littles cartoon? Did you have that back then? It was an older one, so maybe not. Okay, so they were just like they lived in a They lived behind the wall of like this little kid's house and stuff, and I think they were like elfish little things. But it was very cute. It was very cute.
Well,
It's
like
kind
a
of like
borrower's.
maybe, yeah. I think it was like that. I think it was like that. And I liked, yeah, anything tiny I liked. So I think that was just kind of like a thing. So yeah, transformation. I think in that regard, if you were to go off the rails, again, it's very broad. I feel you can really, if you want to pigeonhole a lot of different fics into transformation, I think you can do that. And I do like I like longer fics like this, and I like shorter fics like this. I'm not necessarily a big like dog transformation person either.
We're
And
cat people.
yeah, we're cat people. So there's like one fic that I'll talk about a little bit that I really adore because it's a cat one a little bit later on. So you can find a lot of examples of different types of like animals, again, like mythical, or you can get very back to like basics with like, you know, domestic pets, different things like that, like dogs, cats. And because I'm looking at it more like the witchy angle, like for me, it's like, I just think I've read more cat ones, or I've found more cat ones than
You love witches,
I found.
though.
Yeah. So again, that's my bent. Like that's what I find.
Witches
And
appear a lot in Sandra's works, whether she
yeah,
intends them to or not. They do be there.
I've realized that also. Like I like that, and it was just like an aha, I like this thing. I like writing about this. I was going to be nitpicky about animal transformation, and I wrote this in the doc. Are we including ABO, alpha, beta, omega, and werewolves?
So I said no.
Mm-hmm.
I said no, and I will extrapolate on that. Like true werewolves, independent of A/B/O. I think werewolves, yes, that would probably be okay. But I think alpha, beta, omega is like its own thing, and I know there's a lot of overlap because there's a lot of alpha, beta, omega stuff that covers like transformations and, you know, like the like the wolf within and stuff like that. And but for me, it's like its own, because you can have A/B/O with absolutely no animal anything, you know, like be in that universe. You know, like I wrote one that was nothing, you know, like it didn't have any animal characteristics in it, I don't think, anyway.
Oh, Dean and Soldier Boy?
Yeah, not for sale.
I was doing my research. It is very hard to find any rhyme or reason on AO3 when it comes to tagging in general. I think we've learned this. People tag, though they don't really follow any particular rule. It's a suggestion, and it's very loosey-goosey. I could not find a lot of... So fics that I thought, when I thought about, oh, this has to have been tagged with animal transformation, weren't. And in my mind, should have been. So I think there's a lot of fics that if you're looking for this, you really might have to do a lot more digging, or you might have to find, like if you find somebody that writes it, you might have to get in contact with that person and be like, hey, who else do you know writes this stuff? Or you might have to go into their, if they rec fics, go into their bookmarks or their recs and see what they like. I feel like this is a very niche-y, even though it doesn't feel like it when you kind of think about it, people just aren't tagging it enough. For me, because I like more of the witchy stuff, like I found things that kind of included familiars that to me would fall under animal transformation. But somebody might, who's, you know, somebody who's not into that side of it won't find it. Or they might not find anything that kind of like wets their whistle, so to speak, you know, when it comes to transformation. And also, I would think some people might be really big on reading fics that describe the actual transformation itself. And I don't know if a lot of these kinds of fics have that in them. Like they might have a couple of instances, but then like once it occurs, and then that's it. Where I'm more about what's the sort of like relationship dynamic or what's happening once that person or becomes, you know, an animal, and how does that kind of like play out. I think that's kind of more of like what I'm all about with that kind of stuff.
I definitely think that's two distinct camps, if you will, of, as you say, the the American Werewolf in London, if you will, the actual moment of. Is that an outdated reference? Do you get that
No,
reference?
I know of it. I don't think I've actually seen that movie all the way through, but I know there's a big to do about the scene with the transformation.
Yeah, well, it
Yeah.
was ahead of its time. It was like one of the best. Like it was, and like I haven't seen the movie all the way through.
I remember that scene. I remember seeing that scene, like with like a lot of like cinematic, like, you know, like moments, you know, like people are like making a big deal out of like makeup, prosthetics, and like how that all kind of happened. But that kind of thing I think is very big in certain like certain kinds of movies, right? Like they really, you were talking about The Fly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think okay, so this is a part of transformation that I probably don't like. I'm not big on body horror. And some people might kind of like lean into that aspect of it where I'm like, I don't really know about the transformation part. Like I'll be looking at that through my fingers and I might skip. This is where I can read stuff more. If I don't see it, if I can read it, I can sort of self-edit how much I kind of want to see in my brain when it comes to it. But I think other people really enjoy that part of it. And I'm kind of like,
I go the other way.
See? Yeah.
I go the other way. I want to like, I find it much easier to see something, because then my brain goes, yes, that is what that looks like. And we can file that away. And then I'm not imagining what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
If I just read it, then I'm imagining it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's, I don't want that in my brain. That upsets my brain rocks.
So with that, do you not like body horror?
I want to be like, I'm so cool and chill. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Be cool or chill about it. So you like it or you don't like it. Doesn't mean.
But like,
cool.
I would not say that.
Come over to my side and be uncool for a little bit. It's fine over here.
Oh god, the things I thought I would be cool about as a parent that it turns out I'm horrifically not cool about. It's unreal. I was like, I'm gonna be the chillest parent, and then my kid utters a curse word, and I fucking flip my shit completely. And, that's an outtake for another time. No, I want to say, like, in my head, in theory, body horror doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't like actively seek it out. Like, it's not like my preferred genre of horror, but it doesn't bother me. But my husband was watching the Terrifier movies, you know, with the clown dude.
No, I don't, because I wouldn't watch it.
Because you're like, I don't like clowns or body horror. Okay, well, it's a clown dude. But
I don't mind clowns. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It was the cheesiest movie. I've watched that too.
No.
But I can't say clowns are like I'm not like Sam with clowns. Like I can watch them.
I am.
Okay.
No, it's a black and white, and it's not real. Like it's clown-esque. It's not true clown.
Okay.
So it doesn't bother me as much. But it's like they're called the Terrifier movies. And my husband was watching them, and I shit you not, I came off for lunch one time. So I'm trying to eat a fucking sandwich, and he's out there. It's like the middle of the day, like fucking 12 p.m. And he's watching this movie, and this clown is like going to town on somebody's face.
Mm-hmm.
Like fully beating the shit out of him. And I had to be like, could I eat my lunch in peace, please? I can't eat while you've got that on in the background. That's disgusting. And he was
this
like,
is like
oh,
no
yeah,
dicks at
sorry.
breakfast kind of situation.
But no, that's exclusively, that's across the board. Like, please don't cave faces in what I'm eating. So like, I want to say, like, in theory, in my brain, actually, does body horror, does just blood count as body horror? Do you think?
No, I think it's stuff that more like is manipulating. To me, it's almost like when you've got, and I don't even want to say it because it's going to make me think of it, so I'm not even going to say it. But like, there's certain things where like, you know, parts of the body are in places it shouldn't be, or like it's just not. You know what I mean? Like you're readjusting stuff or stuff. Oh, no, again,
that doesn't bother me too much.
I think it's like more I think that's more like the body horror, but it could be other stuff too. Again, I don't know enough of this, and I don't want to delve into it to find all of the different examples. So my thing here is, and I'll be careful what I say. I don't mind blood and like gore too much. I don't like other fluids. I don't like that. Like, I don't know if you've seen The Fly all the way through. I haven't seen The Fly all the way through, but I know that there's like goo in that. I don't want no part of that. I don't like goo in any fucking capacity. I don't care which bodily orifice it comes from. No goo. I don't like that. I like fluids. Any of that. I think this is why you don't like animal transformation stuff either, especially when we're talking about dogs, because we've had this conversation before with one of the fics that I like, because I didn't know about this, that this was a big squick of yours, was drool. And
if you could see me right now, I'm turned into a broken neck T-Rex. I shit you not. Because I'm thinking about that scene in that fic. And then my hands are coming in T-Rex arms, like that's gonna help anything. My autism's like, don't worry, babe, we got this. T-Rex arms.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's like, you know, again, if it hits a certain button for people, it's like, you know, no, not doing it. So I totally get that too, because there's
kind of like
there's a lot of opportunity for this to happen, and I think this kind of a thing.
Gross. I want to just specify as well, the fic that we're about to discuss, I have read it all the way through, and it's really, really fucking good. And it's not anything against Sandra. It's not anything against the author. Like the scene, it's not drool for the sake of scene. It's not drool for the sake of like being gross necessarily. It's not.
I think it's more cracky. It's really more cracky.
What is that fucking word? It means like for the sake of it. What is that word? Words. What do they mean? I don't fucking know. It'll come to me.
We are not doing well with words today. I thought I already established that earlier today.
10 minutes down, 10 minutes later in this episode, I'm just going to go, and you'll all be like, we've forgotten what you're talking about, guys. Yeah, but it's not gratuitous. That's the word. It's not gratuitous. Yes.
Gratuitous.
There we go. It's because I'm stuck on gratuitous. It's not gratuitous in any way. It is legitimately like a part of the scene, but I wasn't expecting it, and I was sickened. I was so gross. And I don't want to say that I didn't yell at Sandra, but I might have yelled at Sandra and be like, that was disgusting.
Because I didn't, and I did not know that was one of your squicks. So now that I know that, I don't even think I like offer up any more of these, because I'm just like, just in case, because if I like if I'm just saying, oh, I've started reading this, it's really great, but I don't know if it's going to have it or not. And again, not everybody's going to tag for it, right? Because not everybody understands it's a squick. And if somebody might have.
If I'm warned about goo from any fucking orifice, like beforehand,
I put that in. If you don't look good, we don't look good. I was like, there's some goo mention in the beginning of this, so I was just like, you know, because I don't like the episode. It's a good episode. Oh, what is it? It's in season 14. It's when Sam and Charlie are in the car, and then the truck, and they're staking out the big fly dude, and it's the muskas. The muskas.
That's the blooper.
The muskas. Yes. But yes, there you go. There's the blooper with the bee. But yeah, the muska. And it's just like, there's a lot of goo towards the end of that episode. And I do not, I look through my fingers for that too, because I don't particularly care for that. I don't think I've watched The Fly all the way through because of that as well. So yeah, it's weird. It's like, I like it, but I like it in a certain sense of like, I like the abstract idea of it. I don't need every single thing discussed in great detail with this trope,
and I think that's one of my problems is like, if it's abstract, like it can go either way, because if it's abstract enough, I can be like, yes, fine, and just like not think about it any further. But if it's precise enough, then it will conjure up a sense memory for me. Like, I've been drooled on by dogs. I don't fucking like it. It's disgusting. Weirdly, baby drool doesn't get me the same way. Baby drool is fine, and I don't know if that's because when babies drool on you, you're still in that oh my god baby stage. But it doesn't bother me as much. Baby snot and baby puke is disgusting. Baby drool, once they get to like walking age, then it's gross. Then they become like people, and I'm like, oh god, no, ew, your face. But yeah, I just don't do well with fluids. So if if I can conjure a sense memory of that, my brain very helpfully will, and then I'm like, nuts. So that was the problem in that fic. I was like, I've been drooled on by dogs. I've seen dogs eat. I've seen babies eat. So this is horrific.
In more of the mythological situations, I'm guessing there's not necessarily a ton of drool.
Lizards don't drool. They tend not to drool. That's all right.
There you go. And dragons have dragon breath, which is very hot. So I would think there wouldn't be a lot of drool occurring in those situations anyway. So there we go. Yeah.
Actually, no, I said that.
Sense.
Lizards don't drool, but some lizards do. Like Komodo dragons drool.
Okay.
But like the lizards I personally have had personal hand-holding experience with, they did not drool. So that was all right.
Okay. So no Komodo dragon fics for you because we don't need that to be occurring at all. So again, this is a very broad animal transformation topic.
It's a whole thing.
You might actually find, if you're interested in it, you might actually find something that meets it. But just be warned, it's going to take you a bit of time probably to really find a lot of them. We'll go through a little bit of the details later.
Yeah, you gotta kind of pass it out because like I was saying before, I went all off on Draw. It's like there's it sort of falls into two camps, doesn't it? It's like the people that want to read and want to write the actual act of transforming the very werewolf, an American Werewolf in London kind of thing. And then there's, like you say, the people that they're not too bothered about how it happens, but what happens afterwards.
Yeah, the fallout, like what's going to occur kind of thing. And I think that lends itself to, like, again, it could be very angsty, it could be very funny. I find a lot of them just usually are very, like, it's amusing, or it's like, trying to figure out how to get them to change back or how to, like, communicate and that kind of stuff. I find that stuff interesting. When I've read
it. I've read a couple of fics. I think one of them was a season 8 fic where Dean got turned into a cat and Sam had to call Benny. And he was really angry about it. But that was pretty cute because there was no overlap. There was no, like, Dean was a cat with a cat voice. There was no, like, Dean's voice. There was no, like, telepathy or anything like that. It was just Sam going, I don't know what happened. What the fuck? But yeah, Sam had to call Benny and he was real mad about it. But then there was also, like, Sam coming home with, like, collars and toys for Dean and Dean being like, what? Really?
What?
Really?
Really though.
Let's see if I can find it.
The other type that I just wanted to kind of, like, mention is the anthropomorphic. So it's features anthropomorphic personifications of ideas or inanimate objects. I found this in fan lore. Some demonstrate Rule 34, that you can find porn about anything on the internet, while others are written to make a fanish political point. Gives voice to ideas or inanimate objects. One that I think you're going to find a lot in Supernatural is Impala transformations, because Baby is so iconic, I think, in the show. I think people in love with my car.
I feel for my automobile. Roger Taylor wrote that song like 30 fucking years before Supernatural was even a twinkle in Kripke's eye.
If you'd like a tag that there are plenty of, there is a Dean/Impala tag. I found over 200 of those. And again,
are they mostly like
you want to click on the link? Let's click on the.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to click on the link. You can click on the link if you want. I'm asking you because you've done the research. Are they mostly like the Impala turns into a human, or are they like Dean genuinely getting a feel for his automobile?
So I've seen ones where it's transforming into a human, but there are there's somebody who wrote a SPN Carfuckers Week.
Can I just say, I don't want to click on the link, and I'm sitting over here with my whole chest like I'm not the person who has read more than one fic about the time that Sam gets turned into the fucking Impala. And Dean's like, "Ooh, what does this feel like? Where's this touching you?"
Yeah, so there's
more than one.
So there's
less than 5, I think, but more than one.
I'm guessing this goes into this territory. Mechaphilia? I'm guessing that's mechanical.
Yeah, I would
stuff.
think so, yeah.
So I'm not going to click that because we don't need to go there too much. But yeah, I've seen a lot of ones, and there's one that I really like that I'm going to mention because, again, it's just so funny to go back and look at what we used to rec when we did our cannon fodder recs, and a lot of the stuff I've wrecked or really liked falls, I think, under like the transformation situation in one way or another. But yeah, there's a lot of
really,
yeah, but no, Impala, Dean Winchester. Yeah, there's a lot there, and you'll be able to find that tag if you'd like in the description when we add the document. But so again, your kink is not my kink, and that's okay. Going back to like the stats and just trying to find information, unless Kasey, there's anything you'd like to add to the anthropomorphic aspect of it. Like, I don't think I've ever read anything that I can think of that wasn't anything outside of somebody like the Impala. I just don't think I've read anything where like anybody got turned into something inanimate. that I can think of off the bat.
No.
Okay.
I can't think of anything off the bat. And I wouldn't. It's there's a line here from the fan wiki. The classic form of anthropomorphic give voice to ideas or inanimate objects, such as a lab table or Atlantis. Ah, yes, completely similar. A lab table, a lost underwater city. Ah, yes. That really made me laugh. There is a mathematical anthropomorphic and also physics anthropomorphic. That makes my brain hurt. And it's like a like being furniture is like I mean most kinks are legitimate, but that's like a legitimate kink and like a legitimate scene idea, and I understand it. I do understand it. It's not something that I would want to do, but I get it. But I wouldn't want to read about it necessarily.
So is that a situation, because I am thinking of like a couple like different like scenes or scenarios, would that be does that at all hedge into a subdom or like a subspace aspect? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's that whole idea of like it's another way to play on that dynamic of only
like functional, like you're just functional. Yeah.
Only being functional as to what you can provide for your dom. But yeah, no, specifically in that kind of furniture thing, it's very much like it's very personal, and it can be sort of, you remove all the expectations of a human. You don't have to do anything. You just have to serve your function, and nobody expects anything of you. And it's, you know, it's a real personal thing, and it's sort of it kind of works in the same way that like maybe like regression and age play or pet play can work, in that you are it's a way to absolve yourself of responsibilities and be cared for, you know, especially with those last two, be cared for and looked after and things like that. But yeah, it's very much about going, nobody talk to me, nobody anything, I'm just going to be here.
Well, I mean, I think that, and I think like how you're talking about too, like, I mean, like transformation in a lot of different ways, like it does kind of, it gives you a, not a freedom from, but like, yeah, the whole idea of animal transformation, like you're no longer human for a little while, right? Like, so you're like getting the chance to experience different things without, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I can see all of that kind of like falling into people wanting to read and explore and kind of like, you know, give their mind a chance to get out of their own head, right?
Yeah,
like kind of a situation.
Very real form of escapism, I think.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, that's, I'm here for that. Whatever, like we said, we're not here to yuck anybody's yum.
Yeah.
You find escapism however you want to find it. It's 2025 and shit's got real, y'all.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't, like, this kind of anthropomorphic stuff doesn't interest me, like, whatsoever. I don't find any interest in that personally. But, you know, I'm sure there's a whole lot of people out there that do.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of Dean getting a feel for the automobile. I'm going to mention something that I wrote that Dee kept talking about too, that I didn't even realize I was doing in one of my fics, but we'll talk about that later. So for AO3 stats and notes, and this was back on this was March 17th. So I found across all fandoms, out of the 14,630,000, there were about 20,986 that were either tagged animal transformation. I included familiars because I was like, this is a thing that should be included that I could find, and anthropomorphic that included those tags. Again, this is not by any means everything that could probably fall into this category. It's what I could find in AO3. That's about 0.1% of all the fics that are on AO3. Very, I would say, niche-y. SPN fandom, the same 3 tags. I found 611 out of the 301 some thousand fics that were supernatural. And I found 42 out of the 23 some thousand that are supernatural RPF. I made myself a little table. You guys can access it and take a look at it. It'll be in the docs. But basically I broke down animal transformations, familiars,
anthropomorphic into like, I just screenshot like the ratings, warnings, categories, the characters involved, relationships involved. The relationships are probably like the ones that I think are kind of the most interesting in some of these situations in terms of like where they fall. I don't see a lot of, I'm trying to think, I don't see a lot of like original character stuff in relationships much at all. At least not in like, the first 10 that came up in each of them. Nothing with reader. And I did have to include, I think, a lot of this stuff has some crossovers. So there were some things I think that popped up in I believe the anthropomorphic one. I think some Harry Potter stuff looked like it came up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the additional tags, I mean, there is some stuff like Familiars, of course, had a ton of like witch stuff for additional tags. And
oh, you know what? I have read one of those.
Have you?
I have. It was a Destiel fic, actually.
Unfamiliar.
That's the one.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because I was like, wait, there is one.
Yep.
And you actually wrecked that to me. So
I did,
mm-hmm.
yeah, because it's such an interesting
mm-hmm.
story. There is a sex scene right at the end,
mm-hmm.
But you could absolutely skip it.
Mm-hmm.
All you need to know is that like they have sex and something happens, but you don't have to actually read the sex. But that's I love that fic so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's
no, it was a good one. I like that one.
That's Witch Castiel, familiar Dean, who is he turns into an owl. And he's like Castiel's kind of like aging out of his magic kind of thing. Without a familiar to bind to like channel his magic properly. Dean's a familiar who is approaching the age when if he doesn't find a witch to bind to, he will become permanently his animal self and he will lose like his human side. So they're very much both kind of like come together almost out of desperation, I guess. But it's a really, really sweet story, and it's got Sam as an owl, who's an owl familiar to Jess, and Sam and Dean are siblings as well. So when Cass brings him home, Sam and Dean like meet each other in owl form. It's really fucking cute, and it's a really nice. And again, it gets me because there's that supernatural element, kind of like witches, and you know that kind of it's a really sweet fic. Dean's afraid to fly. And it's so fucking cute. And he's not injured or anything. He's just afraid to fly. Because he tried to fly when he was too little and he fell and hurt himself, and now he's afraid.
Aww.
And it's really fucking cute.
I remember. It was very cute. It's very cute. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm just going to talk about like the few that I immediately
Sandra
thought
has
of.
picks. Yeah.
And again, these are very much, I will say flat out, the first three are very much witchy territory. Not necessarily familiar, but witchy. The first one is very witchy.
That's
and
familiar.
Yeah. And it's Toil and Trouble by Little Green Plastic Soldier, who I love. And Dean is
we love Little Green Plastic Soldier.
It's Cat Dean, basically. Dean becomes, and it's Dean / reader. Kind of original female character, but the way it's presented, it's kind of like, it's I don't think
skirts the line.
Yeah, it skirts the line, but you don't ever like you hear a little bit of like there's some YN in it and stuff, but you do get the feel this is an actual, like, this is a person, like this is a character based off of backstory and stuff. But it's the usual thing where like the reader is a part of the boys, like, they're hunting, like she's in the bunker with them. And they have to do this. It's a case fic. They have to like infiltrate a coven of witches. And in order to do that, Dean decides, well, I'll just become like your familiar, kind of like, so you can like we can do the thing and figure this stuff out. And the whole thing starts off too, where like Dean's thinking, I think he thinks he's gonna be like, I'm gonna be like a German Shepherd.
Yeah, no, he's like.
I'm going to be this big, like, burly,
I'm going to be a
like,
dog. I'm going to be like huge attack dog, guard dog. But it's like the witch's, like what's in the witch's mind at the time
when
of
she
casting
casts the spell, she turns him into a cat, and it's the
cutest thing. It's so cute. But there's this really great scene where she's like thinking, dog, dog, dog. And then she looks at him and she's like, but he's just a little kitty. And that's the thought that the spell goes hold of. And he's so mad about.
But there's a lot of, as it goes along with familiar, like they start to, like, they have this telepathy, different things like that. And it is a very good fic. It's a long fic. It's 70,000 words. I think it's one of the best familiar things I've ever read. And it's got,
I love it also.
there's a lot of sex stuff that occurs too, in situations where there's like this great telepathic thing that happens in the car that's so weird and crazy. And I think it's like accidental stimulation thing, but it is so great. And a lot of the tags are like, let's see, kissing, friends to lovers, flirting, spells, dreams, possessive dean, dubious consent, psychic bond, masturbation, mutual masturbation, again, accidental stimulation. It's really hard to tag the specific thing. Inadvertent mutual psychic masturbation. Again, you got to read the story to understand that, but it is so crazy. And it's just, but then there's romantic stuff, fluff and smut. Dean turns into a different kind of cat towards the end, which I think is very much more of like what he wanted to be as a familiar. It's one of those angsty things, but it has a happy ending towards the end of it. But it's a really good case fic in and of itself. There's a lot of
it's a really interesting, and
there's a lot of
Little
plot.
Green Plastic Soldier does that great as well.
So I would definitely suggest that if you're into, like, you know, witchy familiar stuff. The other one, this is the one that gave Kasey the squicks in the beginning, because it didn't have the tag, but it is one of my absolute favorites. It is not
so good.
So this is weird. This one's tagged animal transformation. I don't believe Toil and Trouble has that tag in it, which I think it would. And in Yeah, I Have a Great Dean, which is the other one, also by Little Green Plastic Soldier. He takes on the characteristics of being turned into a big dog, but he's still physically Dean. So you just have to imagine.
It's more like
Dog Dean Afternoon. Yes, it's more like Dog Dean Afternoon, but it's like full on, like he's like drinking out of bowls. He's sleeping, like it's a whole thing. It's like he's cursed. Rowena's cursed him. It's not a super long fic, but it's 13,000 words. But it's him and a reader, and you know all of this. Like again, it's where all of the angst about like how she feels about him. She doesn't know how he feels about her, and all this stuff kind of like, you know, he's just like, so like just wants to be in her space as a dog, like the whole time he's a dog. And it's just like, and then they have to have that reconciliation, and they have to come to terms with their stuff after. And it's so good. It's just so good. And it's very hot towards the end. There's a lot of great things going on.
Super good. Yep.
Super good. I cannot stress how much I love pretty much anything Little Green Plastic Soldier writes. I would probably say, oh, I have a fic for that. That if you need a trope, there's probably a fic in this vein, because I think they seem to have a thing for witches too. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying to find out if I can get Little Green Plastic Soldier on. I'm going to keep
Cross
trying.
Your fingers.
We'll see. Because then I can actually ask all these questions that I've been thinking about for years when it comes to their stuff. One for me that I did scratch that itch. And even though I love Dean and the idea of a cat, I wrote him as a puppy beagle in something. And I'd done it for the Dean Winchester Big Bang in 2023. And it's Jen. It's sort of like Dean and his relationship with this witch original character. Nothing romantic occurs, but it's just, you know, when things go wrong, and as things do when you're trying to like do curses and things, and you know, you turn Dean into something and then you got a hard time turning him back. So Kasey, I think, has a particular scene in that they like.
Right. Look, if you use the words puppy prick together, that's going to stay in my mind forever. I was just, it's like those two words really make me laugh, but also Dean is a puppy. So like the person that rescues him from the pound is the same person that turned him into a puppy. And she's like, "You're gross. I'm gonna bath you." And she like puts him on the floor as she runs the bath. And his little brain goes, "Puppy!" And he goes fucking running off after like a hairbrush or something, and just full on Bambi on ISIS across the floor. And it's really fucking funny. It's so good.
And that's like, I think this is when I've started to realize how much I do enjoy writing just witches.
I would love you to write. Could I request an installment in some sunny day where Julie accidentally turns Dean into a cat?
You know what? There's always a possibility of that now. So it could happen.
I would love you. You love cats. I would love you to write a cat. Dean as a cat face.
Maybe at some point there'll be a little like installment. Right now, let me get through this other installment I'm trying to write with. And then we can get him into some other trouble later on as a cat. We could do that. But yeah, I think I enjoy that part of the escapist part of it. The spells and the curses, I think I enjoy. And that was a fun little like imagining of how Dean would react, especially when you get into the situation where they can't communicate with each other, right? Like he can't, he's not telepathically like zoned in. So they don't know, like he's trying to tell her probably through barking and like she doesn't get it. Like, it's just not happening. It's like, it's not, the communication part is not working in that situation. So then they have to like figure it out, talk about it after, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I enjoy that part of it. The other one that I want, this is one that I recommended way back. It is a long one. Kasey will not like this one and will not read this one. I opened it
and I saw how many chapters and how big it was, and I was like, oh fuck. And then I realized that it was actually like 3 or 4 books in one. So then I went to the chapters to see how long the first chapter, which is the one Sandra's referencing, is. And it was like hella long, and I was like, this was last night. By the way, I was like, I don't touch it.
Yeah, no. And you also don't like this because I had to give you the warning too that there's a section in this story where Sam Winchester and Becky Rosen are together.
Oh no.
This is no for Kasey at all. So I really did like this one because this goes along the lines where a lot of people, again, baby is such a central part of their lives that this is you're of the mindset that I guess the car always has memories of the family, like, as a car. And then through witchcraft spells, enchantments becomes a person. And the person is a beautiful woman named Pala. And her love for Dean has like, grown. And when she gets this human form, they, converge together, kind of a situation. But it's more about the memory and the backstory of the character of having been with the Winchesters just in general, and that love for them and the love for Dean. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff that occurs. It's a very long fic. I could probably say I've read half of it, but I was very engaged by the very first story of, the transformation part of it. It was one of the first fics I think I ever read on AO3 too. So I think that's why it's kind of got like a special spot for me. And it is an original fictional character. It is Pala Winchester. A lot of stuff goes on in this. It doesn't have a ton of hits. And the way it's sort of laid out is a little like, there's a lot in the, you'd have to look it up and there'll be a link to it if you're at all interested in seeing, but it also has a really beautiful opening of just like, having been with the Winchesters through everything that I loved that opening. I thought that was just great in and of itself. It kind of felt like a poem reading that, I remember. So, but that's as far as I got with the Anthropomorphic. And then Kasey just popped one in. Kasey, you found it. What is it?
I did. This is Dean doesn't like tuna. This is I got it wrong. It's not Sam that reaches out to Benny. It's actually Dean himself. He managed to type out a little text message with his little capitals and summons Benny. And Sam remains very pissed about this whole situation. I'm sure it's typed little capitals, and it's kind of like it's a witch. It's a familiar spell gone wrong. And it is explicit, and it is Dean Benny. But it's been a long time since I've read it, so proceed with caution, heed the tags, because I don't remember what happens. but I do remember it's very much Dean in a cat's body, and he's very snarky and very like. It's so funny, super fucking cute. It's really cute. I love it.
Well, I'll have to read it too. Then I'll have to read that one at some point. But yeah, I think
so cute.
So
a little system for like 1 part up for yes and 2 for no, and he like maneuvers Benny around is hella cute.
Aside from our picks, and again, like I think ours is very like, you know, mine
Very
definitely
broad.
head into one direction. I think more than I could find anything that really takes goes in another. It just doesn't. Like what I find interesting is what I kind of pulled up immediately from this, because I knew I wasn't going to have to do any reading because I'd already read these, and I was like, I like these. These are things that I think represent it. So I've been trying to find, I'm talking to Kasey about it too, like other ways to sort of like wrangle all of our Discord member ideas about different topics or things that we come up with. So for Tags and Tropes, I asked, you know, do you have any fic requests that you think would fall in line with the transformation episode? So I came up with a form, and
loves a Google form.
I'm really enjoying them. They're great. They're almost as great as a table sometimes, because the great thing about them is the responses turn into a table, which is like, I mean, come on, like best of both. It's a transformation right there. It's a transformation. Look at that.
I hate that so much. The Google form responses do go to the Google version of an Excel spreadsheet, which is not designed to hold like paragraphal word data.
Know.
So I'm like, this. Like, I understand that it's like the best you can come up with, because you can go like, this data corresponds to this box and stuff. Like, I understand why it works that way, but I'm like, no, this is not how I consume written data.
But we're going to embrace the whole transformation part of it, which I think is just great in and of itself. That, you know, all that stuff transforms into something else. So it's a form, but then the stuff turns into a table. We're all good with it.
It's like peak Sandra. She's like,
yeah.
I get to light questions on a form.
I get to do both.
The table.
And look
and
at
then
that.
I can move the table. Fucking great. She loves it.
So we're gonna
get this girl an Excel suite.
We're gonna see how this goes, but I'm hoping for the next Tags and Tropes that we do, we'll have this kind of continuing, and we'll get responses from our members. From this one, we got about a dozen requests. The majority of them came from, is it Masawina? I think Masawina. Mellow Fellow contributed a few, and we got one from JDL71. So these are going to be across the board. They could be random, different pairings, ships.
We have not vetted them.
Have not vetted them. I asked them to submit warnings, summary, whether they wrote it, whether they're wrecking somebody else's fic. So what we're going to do is we're going to include this in our Discord. So we're actually, you know, like, come join our Discord. I'll post this in probably our listening booth channel when this episode drops. And you can get to read some of the recs from some of our members. We're a fun little bunch of people. We got like dozens of peeps that, you know, are just along for the ride to chat with us.
The bestest community.
So if you're interested in seeing what our other members have to rec, join us in Discord. The link will be in the description. idlingintheimpala.com will probably get you everything you need. And that way then you can tell us, hey, I think you should read this fic. I like this fic. This is what this fic is about. And then you have, you know, you can access the Google form too as well. It'd be a whole great thing. Hey, full circle here. As we get ready to wrap up, Kasey, and I know, final thoughts. Are you in the middle now? Are you still a hard pass?
I'm still kind of... It's not so much a hard pass. It's not like, I don't think I'm like you are with ABO, where I'm just like, no, it squicks me out. It just doesn't grab me. It's just not for me. You know, I am not the target audience for this. Like, there are some things that I'll read, you know, and if it's skewed more fantasy, mythical, like I'm more likely to want to get involved. But yeah, it's just, I'm just kind of ambivalent about the whole thing, to be fair.
Yeah. And I think, again, like, I really enjoy it, but I know my bent is more towards the witch aspect of it. And I'm just not sure I will dig into a lot of Dean/Impala fics, but you never know. Oh, because, yeah, so tangent about something that I wrote. The dreamer was like, this almost seems explicit. And I guess it does come back to like Dean's relationship with his car. It's the opening scene in Strip It Down where he's fueling up Baby.
Oh, yeah.
And the dreamer was
he's got a feel for his automobile, guys.
So I didn't even realize it when the way I was writing it, but Dreamer was like, he really does love his car, doesn't he? So again, it's sometimes how you build relationships with, and I think this goes for, like you were talking about, Kasey, like guys in their automobiles, like, I mean, they kind of like, they just have a love for their vehicles. I think that kind of like doesn't, you don't always get or understand. And
there like, we're not going to be sexist about this. There are plenty of ladies and envy pals out there that also have feels for their automobile. I
just haven't read enough fics.
It's just it's a male dominated like cars in general are a pretty male dominated industry, and we're not we're not saying that there are nobody else in there. We're just saying statistically, guys like cars.
If you find something, let us know. If there's a really good fic, I'd love to read, like Donna.
She maintains that beautiful truck.
The D train truck. Yes.
She maintains that beautiful truck.
There we go. I bet you. Has somebody written anything about that? If not, somebody should. Let's get on that right away. So I guess we should wrap up because we've been at this a while and we still have another episode to record.
And then we have something else to do after that. We're busy.
We do. Any final thoughts? Or do you think like,
no, I think that's, I think I have maybe a better understanding of what people like,
why they,
this trope. Yeah, but it's not, I'm still kind of like,
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. What about you? You came into this liking it, so you're like, I like it even more.
I like it, but I like it with like guardrails, I think. Like I like it, but not with like I said, we were talking about a lot. Like I'm more about like what happens after. What happens when the thing occurs? How do they deal with it? I like that experience part of it. Because I think a lot of that sometimes allows for revelations after. Most of the stuff I read, that's what happens with it. And I think that's because I think it's important, like you said, it allows for escape. Like I think the main thing I really liked about when I wrote Scratch That Itch was like Dean had somebody to take care of him. And he doesn't always get that. And that was, I think, what I kind of like, because that's a theme for me when I write anyway in general with Dean. It's just like he needs somebody to take care of him. He gets the opportunity to escape and have somebody take care of him for a little while. He gets a freedom from his life for a little while. And I like that part of it, I think.
Yeah, I tend to explore that in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
It tends to be slightly more blood and kink. But I do like it I do like it.
Yeah. That's what's great about how everybody writes. Everybody writes different for different reasons, and there's something for everyone that you can find out there. So have a look if you're interested in transformation, or let us know your thoughts on it. So thank you for listening. We are going to wrap up this episode. If you want to reach out to us and give us your thoughts, you can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section. You can leave a YouTube comment. Join our Discord and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlingintheimpala.com. At time of recording and when this is scheduled to go out, we are still doing our Ride with Priding fundraiser. It will be open till the end of June of this year. So check it out. Grab some merch. It helps support the Trevor Project. And then part of the proceeds help us keep the Impala running. And we're all about the Impala here. So want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers and would love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From Shotgun Picks and Music tier, we've got Crowley's Mistress, Runaway Dreamer, and Sam and Dean 76. From our own Mrs. Butters tier, we've got Charlie. Thanks for picking the tunes in the car and keeping the lights on in the bunker. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Thank you. Don't forget, you can always support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, sharing on audio platforms. Engagement really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes we support in the description. So you have LGBTQ plus talking charities from me, you have mental health charities from Sandra, and of course the main causes that we are championing, highlighting, spotlighting are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes, Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say thank you for joining us in the back seat. Hopefully we did okay for our first recording after like a month. I think we did okay.
I think we did okay. I think we did.
Right.
We did as well as could be expected.
Let us know. Let us know if we did okay. But thank you for joining us in the back seat, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.